Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. Now, the other night I basically was trying to use my Meris Enzo guitar synthesizer pedal and got really frustrated. It's quite complicated to set up and use. Now it does have MIDI and presets. To access the MIDI you need to get a MIDI I/O box. I don't know if you can see that. Right. Besides the pedal itself, and on top of that, you need a MIDI controller of some sort. In fact, if you want to use the online editor, which they have, then you need a MIDI in and out adapter as well. Right? I'll show you these things here shortly. Besides that, it has other limitations. One of them, there's no volume control. Okay? And that makes it kind of tedious to use because it can get very loud. Now, having said that, they did make it where on the mix control it can take down the volume a little bit. However, at the expense of having the guitar signal heard, even when it's trying to get it fully wet or close to it. In other words, at 100% it's fully wet, you don't hear the guitar, but it's very, very loud. If you want to take that down, right, to let's say 74%, you hear the guitar. Anyway, so it has a volume issue. Okay. With all that being said, though, I did get it to partially work with this editor, and I think the big problem is I'm running Windows 7 64-bit rather than the recommended Windows 10. And I think that's the big issue. And as a result, I believe that the MIDI out works, right, but the MIDI in does not. And the MIDI in would be very, very useful, because when you turn a knob on the pedal, it would show up on the editor and you'd be able to see it. That's not the case here. However, it does allow us to go through the 16 presets. I'm going to go through these, and some of them are ones I just made recently, right? And there are some really spectacular sounds, that can be, it can be very useful. We'll go through some of these here. Okay, here's preset 1. This isn't the factory preset. This is one that I saved. Through the Plethora X5, so let's hear just the guitar. And if I do a loop of something like that, let's say, here's just the guitar. That's just a G sharp 11 to standard G major. Okay, now engaging the Meris. And we can loop that. Okay, and the reason why I wanted to show you that is that the Meris Enzo, even with a volume issue, can still be very useful, you know, and has some really incredible sounds. Okay, and now let's go to preset 2. There are 16 presets. Let's hear that one. That's a factory preset. Okay. Alright, here's another one. One that I had made a while ago. Pretty interesting. Here's preset 4. I think that's a factory preset. A lot of these are. So this is what I'm talking about. This is quite loud. If we play just our loop here. I just saw a horror movie the other night, so it kind of reminds me of that. But if I put this, you know, sound, it's just very loud. Here's preset 10, which I really like, and not quite as loud. Another strange feature is that it has this pitch knob, right? And without the editor, there's no real way to tell if it's on pitch 0 or -1 or +1, right, all the way to 10. And you'll see what I'm talking about. And for a long time I thought, oh well, you know, when I was trying out sounds, I was like, man, I must not be tracking very well, or this always seems out of tune. I can do that from the editor. Okay, for example, pitch -4. Which sounds fine until you when you put it with a regular guitar, it doesn't work at all. So, you know, if you didn't know that the pitch was at 0, it would sound out of tune, not working correctly. So in any case, the Meris Enzo is difficult to use. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is not a plug-and-play pedal by any means, you know, to be useful anyway. However, it is still worthwhile because some of the sounds are really great, really spectacular, that you just won't get out of any other pedal, really. But it's quite complicated, no question about it. And at times I get really frustrated with it, and like, man, I'm just going to sell the whole thing. But, you know, then working with it, I realize, oh, actually it can work quite well. I think solving the editor issue with the MIDI for me will make it really, really usable, you know, a lot easier to use. And to create presets that then can be recalled with no surprises, you know. Because on this pedal, I mean, moving one little knob can totally change the sound, you know. It is a neat pedal, no doubt about it. And I think that the video I had created for it was when I was really frustrated about to just dump it all. And I think that'd be quite a mistake, really. So hopefully, you know, I'll use the Windows 10 with the editor, and I think that will probably solve the issues. But we'll find out here. Okay. So in any case, if you're looking for a guitar synthesizer pedal, if you do get the Meris Enzo, be prepared to put a lot of hours into it. You know, getting everything working and set up correctly. But the fun part of it is you really get some unusual sounds that are great for recording, you know, really interesting. Okay, so in any case, I'll play you the video I had made previously where I was really frustrated with it. And there are definitely some issues that could be addressed. But, you know, with careful editing of the presets and things, there are things you can overcome. Now, some sounds are simply too loud to be useful, really. You know, because it drowns out everything else because of the volume. However, there are some other sounds that are very manageable, you know. And that little preset 10 high-pitched kind of solo sound is worth the price of admission. So, not simple to use, though, really. And I could see why people would get frustrated with it, you know. And even getting the editor to work properly is difficult, you know. Now let me show you the hardware real quick. Alright, now this is the MIDI I/O box right here. Pretty close to $100. But you could use 4 Meris pedals, so if you have a Mercury 7 reverb pedal or something, you could use that too. So this is to basically access the MIDI features, you know. Highly recommend it, because then you can use the online editor. And without the editor, this pedal is very difficult to use, really. Okay. Then, of course, you have the Meris Enzo right there. It's a little pedal. Okay. And coming out of the MIDI I/O box, see those two MIDI in and out? They go to this computer editor via this Yamaha UX16. It's basically a MIDI in out to USB. Right, so this actually plugs into the PC. Okay, so, I mean, while it can be very frustrating and things, you know, eventually you can get some really neat sounds. And let's say you didn't have any of the MIDI things, right? So you just want to use the pedal and just twist knobs. I can show you some of that. That's the guitar sound. Pitch knob, right, to bring it up to pitch. That's the arpeggiator. That's cool. And now we'll address some of the secondary functions, which are basically you've got 12 knobs, but really physically only 6 knobs. So you have to hit the Alt button then to change the rest of it. So here I'll change some things here. That's kind of a neat sound right there, right? Yeah. really, it's hard to use, man. And to really get control of it, you really need that online editor, which means getting the MIDI functions, which means getting the Meris I/O box and some kind of MIDI controller, like this little Yamaha unit. Okay. I think once you do that, I think then you could get a much better handle on the Meris Enzo, you know. And the fact that it has 16 presets is pretty nice. You can load those in, you know, especially when they have the sounds that you want, you know. But the online editor is just essential for that kind of thing, really, you know. Unless you're just going to use the factory presets, which are kind of sad. Really. I mean, you know, you'd want to create your own sound. But overall, it's you know, once you get a handle on it, I think it could be very, very useful. You know, but as I said, it's definitely not a plug and play unit. Well, I wanted to show you that. Okay, see you next time.